Hey there, Toonami faithful, and welcome back aboard Toonami Absolution, where we talk about the shows that made us us and made you you. Once again, we are your hosts. My name is Alex.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John, and we're back for episode 7 and 8 of Cowboy Bebop. Heavy Metal Queen and Waltz for Venus. Heavy Metal Queen, September 23rd, 2001 was its Adult Swim debut. Waltz for Venus didn't debut until December 23rd, 2001. Let's get this out of the way. Waltz for Venus was obviously one of the episodes that got preempted due to 9/11. It literally starts with an airplane hijacking. It's probably one of those cut and dry options they made. So they sent it all the way back to December, and it got shown quite late.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It did make it through uncensored, which is surprising. They decided to show it in full. I guess because you can't cut that scene. It's too important and it's too long. But yeah, it's one of the episodes because of that.
It's the first time in the entire series where we see them successfully complete a bounty. Come on.
Yeah, they finally got paid.
Finally, yeah.
But one of my favorite. I think you can learn a lot about Spike, really, with the intros of both episodes. But I love hungover Spike at the beginning of Heavy Metal Queen.
Oh.
The eye twitch when he spills the egg and stuff, just it's just beautiful.
That intro sequence is just so well done. They make VT into this really interesting character within a couple of minutes of screen time.
Mm-hmm.
VT feels like a character who's been here since the start, but we've only just met her. It's so well done.
Yeah. I mean, she's got a real lived-in character in a way that, or lived-in quality in a way that a lot of one-off characters in Cowboy Bebop don't necessarily get. And I love her rapport with Spike and how quickly she turns when she finds out he's a bounty hunter and stuff like that. There's a lot of intriguing stuff there.
I do want to talk about the title and the fact that we've switched music genres a little bit, because women's involvement in heavy metal is actually really important to the conception of heavy metal. They've been around since the 1960s, right? Esther Dawson, the vocalist for Coven, was a major part of bringing this genre to life. And I love this character so much because the history of heavy metal is so entrenched in a very dark, feminine, heavy rock sound. And even if you Alice Cooper is not a woman, but he did claim to be possessed by a witch named Alice Cooper at one point before he changed his name. That's a true story, not joking. But the heavy metal genre.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it on the cover of Black Sabbath's album, right? That's a woman.
Yeah, the idea of being the metal queen is such a thing in this genre of music, and everything about this episode is pitch perfect for that. So I just wanted to have a music nerd moment.
I think to build on that as well very quickly, having the heavy metal person be sort of the trucker, the working class hero, is a big thing. Remember, early guys of Black Sabbath, they were all working in factories in Birmingham. The reason Black Sabbath have a down-tuned style is because their guitarist cut the edge of his fingers off in an industrial accident. It's so giving the metal to this kind of down on the luck trucker makes so much sense to the genre's history. And again, it's amazing that we've been mentioned before the start of the episode, but Live in Baghdad is such a good song. It's the most amazing thing about Live in Baghdad. It's one of my favorites from Bebop. But again, it's the idea that this was a song written for Bebop. All of these songs we've had so far were songs written for Bebop. It's just the range it had, because you could easily imagine that this was just, we went and we paid for other people's music. Nope, these were all original compositions. That so many good ones in so many different styles for one show is just mind blowing.
Yeah. And I also love how they also talk about heavy metal too. It's not just kind of, and they've done that before with the random ass boy from last week's episode talking about his harmonica skills, but they Jet and everybody talks about heavy metal. They're like, oh, Spike about heavy metal. It's a good time, and VT is one of the more interesting ancillary. Both of this week's kind of ancillary characters are interesting in their own right. We get the outsider perspective on why Spike and Faye are so cool.
Yeah.
In the following episode, but we also get to see the consequences of trying to live like Spike and Faye in that episode too. And the fact that you can't. Like you have to be at that level of skill, that almost unconscious skill that Spike has at times. So yeah, but
Spike
both
is always in Ultra Instinct. Like that's Spike basically says that. You just have to be loose just to react, you know?
yeah. Yeah, it's so both episodes this week, A+ on the supporting cast, really.
Yeah, and also there are a really nice mix of comedy and tragedy in both these episodes.
Mhm.
Like Waltz for Venus, specifically, that ending, the shot of him, Rocco getting shot is just. I've seen that. God, how many times I've seen Waltz for Venus? It's probably my favorite Bebop episode. I've probably seen it, 50, 60 times at this point.
Oh, wow.
And every single time I buy into the idea he's going to survive, and then he gets shot. And like the fact that that happens on episode I've seen this many times really is testament to how well they set that whole thing up. Like it still hits just as good as the first time every single time.
Like I think there's something to be said about the brilliance of a show that can take these ancillary, basically one-off characters and give them so much depth and so much to enjoy in such a short amount of time. Like that's genuinely impressive writing. Like you get invested in these characters and they're there for the plot, but they're still people, and I think that that's something that a lot of other shows struggle with.
I think one of my favorite details, sort of example of this, comes during Heavy Metal Queen when you see her CBing to the other truckers. Each of their interiors is different.
Yeah.
Each suggests a character. They could have easily just had everyone else have plain interior trucks. We see that each for 3 seconds. It would have been fine. No one would have said anything. But they went to the trouble of giving each one a distinct theme, and a distinct look of their truck, a distinct layout of their truck. Again, it makes this world feel so much bigger and more alive.
What do we think of the just because I love to kind of harp on this. I do love that we finally see Spike succeed. Spike and Faye succeed at the beginning of the second episode. Because we've seen failure after failure after failure. But if we're going to see Spike in a idyllic light through Rocco's eyes, we have to see him win one. And this is the one where he just happens to win. And then take out a random dude in the airport immediately thereafter.
Well, we see him win twice here, effectively, because he also wins VT's bet. And again, I think we also see that there's a weird karmatic wheel thing going on, where Spike gets his wins and immediately pays for them.
Yeah.
Like, with VT, he chooses to suffer by not taking all of her money and only taking back his bet. And then, Waltz for Venus, he gets the win, but what does that follow with? He has to give up the plant when he could. Again, it's always Spike never gets to take the easy way out. And even when doing that is morally good, he still pays.
I think there's something to say about Spike being a Sisyphean hero in a lot of ways. Or we refer to things. Actually, I think it's more of an Icarus sort of comparison, right? Spike is always flying very close to the sun, and then his wax wings get burnt. It's going to happen. It's how close he gets before the Earth hits him.
Oh yeah, I think Waltz for Venus, you could argue, has moments that are practically biblical. Spike is presented with the blind woman and the chance for the easiest temptation in the world to just take that and walk. There is no, she is weaker than him. She cannot see. He could have easily gotten away with doing whatever he wanted, but he decided something within him, that beautiful thing she sees, pulled him back, and he pays the price for it. But he comes out morally better than he would have been. He resists temptation, and that's not always the easiest path. Nor the one that pays well.
Well, we see the consequences of his moral code, but at the same time, it's a moral code. He's never going to abandon it. And that's really what sets him apart. I mean, the memory at this point of Vicious is still fresh. So we get to see him in a more favorable and heroic light. But like everybody in the real world, and certainly the Cowboy Bebop world, maintaining that moral high ground does come at a constant cost. A very tangible cost. I just love Hungover Spike also, and I know I mentioned this before. Heavy Metal Queen. It's just so. I mean, if we're talking about about actions having consequences, shot chaser literally.
Yeah, I think it's also a fun break from what you see in a lot of fiction with this kind of character is that they, look at Clint Eastwood films. He knocking back whiskeys, and he may say he's hungover, but he never shows the effects of it. It's a throwaway line, usually to pad a couple of seconds of a script. Spike gets hungover and then pays for it. He has to like struggle through, and it contrasts him with these other. What I like about these episodes, we get a lot more of this world building again. We see all the bounty hunters in Heavy Metal Queen, and we see again this is a dirty profession. Spike is filthy, but he comes out surprisingly clean against them because he's keeping to himself and he just wants his egg. And then one of my favorite little moments in Waltz of Venus is when Faye takes her money. Because how do they get bounty payments? A tiny ATM in the corner of a airport lounge. It's like it's so common. It's not even special. It's just something people do. I read it was an essay several years ago that pointed out how the machine they get the money from sort of resembles the bathroom hygienic products machine a little bit. Like it's that idea of it's this thing you don't really pay attention to. It's just an accepted part of life. It's the disgusting thing you don't look at very much. And it's bounty hunting is just this job that the worst of the worst do, and everyone else tries to pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
What do we also see him. We also see him kind of the typical botching of a bounty by the end of that episode with Decker too, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Faye shoots him.
Faye shoots him. Faye sure does shoot him.
Yeah.
Oh,
kaboom.
Faye holds someone up with her ship, which I think is always a good visual as well.
But in speaking about Faye and talking about the episode the sequence in the second episode in Waltz of Venus that got it pushed by 3 months of its initial airing, we get to see how well Spike and Faye have gelled together as a team, right?
Oh
yeah. Like it's a very fun little sequence, despite the hijacking stuff being not great for that time period. It's such a fun little sequence of them trying to wake Spike up, but Spike is just using those motions to beat the crap out of that one guy, and Faye comes in from behind to pull some rogue stuff and knock the other one out. It works really well, and it's giving you the idea that these are characters who are now more comfortable with each other and working together.
But I also think that scene has a quiet tragedy to it. Because the idea that if you can fight when you're asleep, it clearly shows that you have been in a situation where you're used to being attacked in your sleep, which speaks a lot to Spike as a character. Same way I think that sort of Faye carrying knockout sprays itself suggests that what have you done to end up in a situation where you're having to carry effectively a bioweapon on your person at all times? It's the idea that these people have never had Spike never knows peace.
No, and if anything, he's more in his element when he's at war, to speak to that analogy. And it also reminds me of the beginning of the Cowboy Bebop movie, right, where he's just so casually dispatching the bad guys at a convenience store, just like, oh, I'm just gonna get a coffee and burn this guy in the process and stuff like that. He is at his most graceful when he is in a dangerous situation, when he has guns pointed at him and that sort of thing. How much of that do you think is him just downplaying his capabilities to lower their guard, and how much of that do you think is actual ultra instinct, so to speak, reflex action? And it never gets addressed. It keeps it ambiguous.
It's interesting too because it works as such an interesting little dichotomy to how human Spike really like. Spike is a very empathetic guy. Like he may have to do a good old fashioned murder and some of the old ultra violence, but the way he treats Victoria and the way he treats Rocky is just so, it's very human, and it's very reactive in a way that could have been dismissive, but it's not. Like he shows care in those moments.
Yeah, I love the end of Waltz for Venus because Spike, Spike, the man who knows death so well, has, is how upfront he is with Faye and Jet. He sees the moment to tell a white lie and he takes it. It gets seen through, but in that moment, he didn't want to tell her she was dead. That speaks to a side of Spike that still has that humanity. Like he knows what it means to have lost someone and can't bring himself to put that on someone else in that moment. He fails at doing it because he's not the best socially, but he still tries his best.
Yeah. 100%. Um,
Also, can I point something else I really like is when they come out of the air after the hijacking sequence, how little fanfare there is. Like Spike just miracled on the Hudson a plane, and what do? You go to an ATM and no congratulations, no reward, just here's some cash, go away. That's bounty hunting.
And
Miracle on the Hudson guy got a whole documentary.
Yeah, didn't you get a movie out of it?
He got a movie.
I mean, frankly, for a guy that faces failure and endures failure so often, I think that comes from a place of him not knowing how to fully process or appreciate a win. Right? He's just like, I'm just gonna grab my card. Oh yeah, Faye, I guess you helped. Here's a piece. This is all you're gonna get. Cool. Like, and of course, like any good winner, any good gambler, he's gonna lose those winnings almost as quickly as he gets them, right? But he might finally get some food along the way, because Lord knows that dude's always hungry.
Yeah. Wouldn't you be?
I mean,
oh yeah. I mean, have you seen this physique? Of course.
the dog's on bean sprouts. Man.
Yeah. I'm gonna get some Korean fried chicken, I think, after this.
And beat up some people.
Yeah.
For the fried chicken.
Yeah.
No, not gonna get a prairie oyster.
No.
Don't want an egg cocktail.
Have either of you ever done that before? Have you ever done the
Okay. Isn't a prairie oyster
yes.
You're thinking of a Rocky Mountain oyster.
Yeah. Okay.
They are used. Yeah. The prairie oyster is the drink Spike is having in Heavy Metal Queen. It is a hangover cure. Well, it's not a hangover cure, children. Don't drink. Well, hilariously, all of the studies pointing to why the prairie oyster works is entirely placebo, in that it is so disgusting. In the moment, it distracts you from the fact you're hungover, and because it tastes foul, your brain's like, "Oh, this must be doing something."
Yeah,
that's kind of interesting. I did think it was a Rocky Mountain oyster for a second. I didn't realize it was its own thing.
No, that's the testicles of a bull, I believe.
Yeah, that is a Rocky Mountain.
And the Rocky Mountain Way is a song by the Eagles.
Yes. Yeah. Or just do Rocky Mountain High by John Denver. But anyway,
have you ever had it, Sam?
Which are we talking about?
The prairie oyster drink.
No, I've never done the raw. I've done that to like get egg to separate yolk from egg whites, but I've never just housed a raw egg.
A raw egg with Worcestershire sauce.
Yeah. Sometimes when I'm in Japan, I'll get gyudon bowls with an egg, and I don't know how cooked it is. Where it's just the runny yolk on top of like beef and rice.
It's usually not cooked.
Then I guess I have, but not in a drinking context. But yeah, so I guess I've had raw egg there.
Yeah, I guess prairie oyster is a nice dish if you serve it over rice. It's when you deliberately just swallow it. It's not.
Again, I love the scene where he he gets scuffled and just the look of defeat on his face.
What I especially love about the scene, it's a little detail that he's separating the white into an ashtray, which is the implication of he has brought the egg himself. That is not served. He hasn't gone to the bartender and requested this. He has brought an egg.
This is his own egg that he brought into this bar. BYOE.
Yeah.
Bring your own egg.
I'm gonna list that every time I have a party now. I'm not gonna list BYOB. I'm gonna list BYOE and see how many people bring eggs.
Your own egg.
Egg party. We're just gonna have an egg party.
Hey, eggs are expensive now.
Sounds like horrible slang for something.
Egg party.
Oh no.
Let's move away from that.
Mr. Bill.
There are a couple of interesting things in this in Heavy Metal Queen I quite like references, because VT is also the initials of the first woman in space, Valentina Tereshkova.
Valentina Tereshkova, yeah.
Yes,
absolutely.
First woman in space, which I think is a nice nod to sort of the female role in things, which comes up. And I like the fact when you listen to her on the CB, all the trucker names she mentions, all their call names, they're all from the song movie Convoy. Which also that means it also spoils the ending, because Convoy mentions specifically there's a guy rolling dynamite, which is what the villain is doing.
Just like
God, that's so good.
I heard, was like, I think some of these are in Convoy. I had to go through back and write them all down. Like, they all like Convoy.
I never
Midway through
knew
the
that
episode, you
reference.
stop to check out
Yeah.
Convoy.
I do have a soft spot for the image of Faye in the Chuck E. Cheese restaurant.
Yes.
If only because that's a meme in my friend group. Just for like, this is the weird places you end up sometimes, and it's like, I think we've all had that moment where you've been somewhere like, why am I here? What did I do wrong?
Oh man, you just described the entirety of my late 20s.
Sat in a Chuck E. Cheese waiting to shoot a man.
Honestly, kind of. Look, you don't know what I was doing.
I've never been to Chuck E. Cheese. Maybe they have shootings regularly. I've never checked.
Honestly, you mean Charles Entertainment Cheese?
Yeah. I do love, like, you know, how how miserable Faye can be, and like just the image of like Faye with like a sundae in front of her and stuff is just some of the
it's just such a good single shot.
Oh, good.
It's so funny.
Like, I love this show's ability to have these objectively badass characters and at the same time put them in situations where all they, like, the look on their face just says, I should have never gotten that associate's degree. You know what I mean? Where it's like, ooh, I wasted so much money on that master's degree. What's even the point?
Yeah.
That's what I think makes Bebop work. We're going to do it again. We're going to rag on the live action, everybody. Is that
it's so easy.
Yeah,
so easy.
They keep setting me up. But all of Bebop's characters are a little bit pathetic in their own, like Faye in that restaurant, like she looks so stupid, and how she acts with the money going to, she's such a fool who you can pity. Like, you kind of want to be her friend, but at the same time you go, if I was friends with her, she'd be problems. She'd be the friend you're having to go out to at 4 a.m. because she crashed her car into a ditch or something.
Yeah, heavy metal queen, Faye Valentine's a drama queen, and frankly, Spike is just as bad, if not worse.
Yep, Spike is just as bad. And then in Waltz, Spike is still good, but he's still a bit of a dick. Like, he's trying to be cool, but he sounds like with the be like water thing. There's a very specific inflection in his voice where it's like it's very much I'm trying to be cool, but it doesn't quite work.
Honestly, I feel like Cowboy Bebop, like, in a weird way, captured what millennials were going to grow up into, in a way. It's like, we're going to be in our 30s, we're going to all have, like, 2 and 3 roommates.
And 2 and 3 jobs.
And 2 and 3 jobs. Like, that's just what... They invented millennial core before it was cool. You're going to listen to your weird records that you got half price at the record store. You're going to be living with your other 30-year-old friends, and everybody's going to hate you for it. Like, that's really what it's about.
You're going to be hungover and hating life. You're going to be, bandaged up on a couch because you're now in your 30s. And
you can't afford insurance.
Yeah. Sleep has become a full contact sport. It's you're just not a great time.
Have fights with your enemy in a church. That's just me.
You have like one roommate who's slightly older than everybody else because Jet is canonically 36 at this point. Who's like, he's got his bonsai trees and gave up like years ago. And
the only thing he cares for is the dog. Like everyone else. Got a dog. But that's what I like. That they are like. Spike wasn't written to be cool. He is cool through the writing, but it wasn't like we are going to make a character who is cool. Like if you we've seen the 90s mascots where they put like, oh, you can have big shades. The Poochie episode of The Simpsons. Like Spike wasn't written to be cool. He is cool, but he was written to be this bigger character, which the live action kind of lost. They clearly like, oh, Spike's this cool guy. He's like, no, he's also kind of a wreck.
Yeah. He's a mess, but he's a mess that we root for because when the chips are down, he makes the actual action look easy and as natural as breathing. But then when he actually tries to settle down, everything falls apart because he is not in his element when he's, in his quiet moments. He doesn't know how to handle that. He doesn't know how to process wins. He doesn't know how to just like when Faye shows him a kindness during the Vicious episode, he doesn't know how to process that. He's going to insult her singing. Like that's just who he is.
And even like he's in a suit 2 sizes too big all the time, and he looks like a lanky beanpole. Yeah. It's part of the issue with live action was that John Chu, I love him, he's just naturally too good looking. Like,
He's just too
Well,
good.
he was also like pushing 50 at the time.
but yeah, John Chu's a nice looking dude. He does not look like, again, it's the old, I always brag on him about working class characters being played by middle class people. John Chu does not look like the guy who has been through hell. Where animated Spike, even in his eyes, you can see there's like a weariness to them, which you can't really capture in live action.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because a lot of times in stories you have characters, you have an aspirational aspect to characters. I do not think that anybody in Cowboy Bebop is an aspirational character. There are people who are like living these kinds of lives, maybe without the whole space bounty hunter thing. This Nobody wants to be living this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like,
think there's a little bit of aspiration to Spike in that I think there is sort of the merit in surviving the unsurvivable of like I always kind of think of it the one foot in front of the other philosophy. It's like
I mean,
you don't want to be him totally, but it's hard to not admire his ability to just keep moving.
my argument about that is, like just little Alyx lore that happens like I grew up on food stamps. Like I grew up in with a mom who made $9,000 a year and a dad who was a bartender. Like we struggled. I'm very good at putting one foot in front of the other. I would not wish that life on anybody else. Like, and I think that maybe that's where my opinion of it kind of changes, where it's like I see the value in being a survivor, but having to live through what makes you that way, that sucks. That is not something you want to go through.
No, it's not. But I think it's rare to see a survivor represented so well. I think that's part of it. I get like Spike. That's the aspiration. It's not that you should be like this. It's like you can keep moving.
Yeah.
Because most survivors don't feel like survivors. Also, guys, Sam, you have something to say before I go on?
I was just gonna say he's for me like Spike is the definition of scrappy. You know.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, he's kind of got that quality.
Fighting Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Yes, yeah, all three at once. Take out them ducks.
I want to bring up one of my two weird things I really liked about Venus. One, what the weird thing is, the preview on the end of Heavy Metal Queen has Jet hosting it, and he says the episode is very unlike Bebop, but it's good to have stuff like this once in a while, which I think is funny because, in my opinion, Waltz of Venus is the most Bebop episode.
One of my favorites. It might be my favorite. Yeah,
I find it just weird that that's how they led off on it. It's like, oh yes, Jet's here to tell you that this is good for the soul to be different. It's like, no, this is kind of what you guys have been doing. But one of my favorite moments in Waltz of Venus is when Faye is trying to find the guys. She runs into a hotel room where two guys are in the middle of having intercourse. Mm-hmm. She does shove a gun in one of theirs mouth, but that is Faye's general default. But nothing is made of it. There is no comment made in either language. She just goes in, rams a gun in his mouth, like, where's the dude?
Yeah.
Keep in mind, this was 98. So
from Japan.
Yeah. 98 from Japan. So having two guys in bed clearly doing that, where it's just not a big deal. Faye doesn't react to it. Her first thought is, I'm going to have to threaten this guy with a gun. But I would threaten any man in this bed with a gun because that's the point of my job. Again, it's a really amazing, very forward-thinking, very progressive thing. As we said, Bebop in general has been quite progressive, and it's just so cool to see that moment. Like, oh, hey! Because, if you look at other LGBT rep from the late 90s in Japan, it's not good.
No.
And
no.
Even better, it's two guys of different body types, which is still something things fail at.
Yeah.
They're just rendered very naturally, so I always like to point that out because it turns out you can do those kind of things. God, so it's amazing you can write things well when you try. Hello, television.
But we do have time for final thoughts, though.
We do. My final thought, speaking of previews of next episode, is who hosts the outro or preview going out of episode 8? Radical Edward. I've been looking for the Radical Edward sticker, where it's just the circle with like the teeth smile. Like it's just it's like half the upper half of smiling where it's half the face. If you can find those stickers, like send them to me. I would love to have those.
I'm so excited because also the Radical Edward means we get to bring up the classic anime meme, which I'm saving for next week. I've got it ready. But yeah, I love the intro for Edward where everyone's like, who is this kid? We've not been talking about them much, but the next episode previews for these have all been great. They're just really funny. My final thoughts are just these are again 2 really good episodes. Waltz for Venus is probably my favorite Bebop episode, just because I get there's this weird quiet beauty to it. Like it's again, it's almost biblical in this kind of, it's a parable with real heart, and yeah, how that last shot, man, with the spores coming down, spiky apple, it tugs at the heartstrings in a way few things can. I would honestly recommend, even if you have no interest in Bebop, see a doctor, if that is you, by the way. Something is clearly wrong. But I would watch Waltz.
Waltz.
I decided you're a pond person. I'd say watch Waltz. Waltz of Venus tends to be the episode I show to people first, even out of order, because it's just, I don't think you can deny it. It's just a perfect 30 minutes of television.
Yeah. Honestly, it's so hard to talk about how good Cowboy Bebop is, because Cowboy Bebop is genuinely just that good. And Waltz for Venus is kind of such a neat distillation of so many of the themes and so many of the beats and like the energy that this show brings. Waltz for Venus is one of those episodes that you can use as a way to get people into the show. If you're having a hard time finding like an entry point episode that's not the beginning, that Waltz for Venus would be the one I would pick. But that does mean that it is time for us to pull into our final destination. That's right, it is time to disembark from Toonami Absolution. We want to thank you again for joining us and talking about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. Once again, we have been your hosts. My name is Alyx.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John.
And we'll see you next time. Bang.